Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 8. Now, this is a mid-season finale for those who are not really that familiar with The Walking Dead. Maybe you are just now watching it on TV and you binge-watched the other seasons, but this is where they take the holiday break. I guess it's a holiday break. Let's just call it that to make it easy and self-explanatory. And they'll come back with a new episode, Episode 9, around February. Now, we'll get an exact date, an airing date for that episode later on. When we do, we will tell you on this channel. And that reminds me, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe, because not only do we discuss each episode, but to help out with your walker withdrawals, we do prediction videos, topic videos between episodes and between seasons and mid-season breaks. Like right now, we're hitting a mid-season break for a couple months, so we will do videos at least every other day. Sometimes for a week or so, we can give you daily videos. It all depends on what kind of content we are putting out. If it's a lot of editing involved, it might take a couple days. So just hit that subscribe button and stick around. Now let's start with the ass end. The ass end of this episode. And after credits scene, I was shocked and I was kind of surprised, but in a good way. They gave us a scene that looked like the introduction of comic book Jesus on screen, but it didn't make any sense because we already got comic book Jesus. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, after the credits, they showed Boots and they showed somebody with binoculars looking at Alexandria, seeing Father Gabriel perched up in the little sniper catwalk thing they got going on. Now, the odd thing about this is it's the same Boot guy who was following Rick and Aaron. We have almost all the characters we need around this point in time in the story as far as the source material is concerned. And I'm talking about clues, not like we don't need any more characters, just for clues. And they gave us a remixed comic book intro. This was Jesus' comic book intro, and I'm saying that not as a bad thing. I loved it. We got it on TV, on the show, even though it's not Jesus, but now it's making me confused because, again, we got all the characters we need technically. It's not Oceanside, is it? I mean, wouldn't they just follow Tara? And then if it's a secondary character, why would you give them kind of an iconic scene? Well, it's not really that iconic, but it's a very popular character, and this is something we were looking forward to on the show that we didn't get as far as Jesus' introduction. So if you have any thoughts or theories, again, on my TV, it was really dark. I couldn't see shit. If you could see something a little bit better, I had the light on because I was recording a reaction video, so it makes it harder to see the darker screens at nighttime, those kind of shots. If you could see it better, thoughts, theories, predictions, all of that, leave it down in the comment box, and we will make a follow-up video. With that said, and speaking of comic book stuff, let's get right to Spencer. That son of a bitch definitely had guts, but in the generic way that everyone has guts. This is a scene that I was really looking forward to, and again, you can call predictable because it was from the comic book and they set it up, and I stand behind. Don't throw in something unpredictable just to trick the fans. It's set up perfect. It belonged on TV. It belonged in that point in the story. Leave it there. They left it there and I loved it. Now, I was kind of taken back a little bit, a little hesitating as far as how much I loved the scene. Not hating on it, but simply saying I was expecting a Negan who was more playful when the guts spilled. And we had a Negan that was a little bit more laid back. But still, I'm not saying that's a negative, just an observation. Now, another thing we had going on that was a negative, though, which is Rosita. Her whole idea is dumb. Even if she kills Negan, they lose no matter what. There's no guarantee. Not only that, she saw Daryl punch Negan and Glenn got killed. I am kind of curious as to what their rationale is. And I'm not talking like, explain yourself, you know, because Lucille gets shot later on in the comic, and I'm not saying they need to do it later on. I'm just kind of curious, well, wait a minute, why would you push that up? Why did you want to push that up? Because you pushed that up, you really didn't get Negan throwing a fit over his bat. I enjoyed the fuck out of the comic where Carl shoots Lucille in the comic, and hey, they might still do it again. They might surprise us and still do it again. I'm half expecting that. But Carl shoots Lucille, and Negan's on the battlefield with gunfire, a little bit, tiny bit, mostly from the Saviors, and he's literally cradling this baseball bat, being like, no! Like it's a person. And I don't know, it's just something I really wanted to see and I missed, and I'm kind of curious to see why they went this route with Rosita. And the whole scene, the way it was shot, I think that was absolutely the worst. If it wasn't shot and edited this way, I probably wouldn't be ragging on it so much, but it feels like they just ran out of money. Like there was just no budget, so they said, Commercial break. You know, because they could just put a sound effect of a gunshot and then have Negan standing there holding a bat with a bullet. It was like someone threw a bucket of cold water on me. Anyway, with that said, one last con, Olivia. I was really liking her as a secondary character. I thought she was really given 100% as far as her performance. I think Anne Mahoney was kicking ass. I'm a little disappointed she got shot. I did like the scene. I liked how he told a rat to do it. She turned around, pa-bang, you know. I'm just not buying it. Then Negan just leaves her there. Okay, you take the bullet maker, but you just left this woman there, this woman who's so impulsive. She's the one who just, I don't know. I'm just not buying it. I don't know. It feels like one of those convenient moments where the writers are just like, you know. And again, with the bullet stuff, for the comic book fans who are going to be a little upset that they're playing with the storyline, I understand it too, you know, because you're sitting here like, wait a minute, they need Eugene later for bullets and they take them, and it kind of feels like they might be artificially twisting up the story so that way comic book fans are more surprised later on. But I will say, pump your brakes and just give them a little bit of time to let it breathe. Trust them when they're putting out the story and just don't shit on it right away, because they might have something really cool and surprising. That's where I'm at. I'm like, wait a minute, why are you taking Eugene? Fuck with that comic story. But in the same strength, I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? If you want to take him and give us some surprises, alright. Now, as far as another character who's kind of getting on my nerves, Carol, only for one main thing. When Richard came to her and he said, listen, this is bad, bottom line. And she said, I don't care, leave. And you guys know, I've been flip-flopping with Carol as a character recently. I support her decision that it's crushing her and she can't do it and yada, yada, yada. But the more I think about it, the idea that you have a woman who says, I'm assuming here, because she doesn't come out and say things exactly, but she says, I don't want to kill, I don't want to take a life, alright? Like, all life is precious, that type of shit. She does not want to kill people, but she does not care whatsoever about people who we just spent seasons building up a relationship with her and these people. Like, she just flat out doesn't care. In my eyes, when she turned Richard away right now, and she told Morgan on top of that, don't even tell, you run into Daryl, just tell him I'm fucking gone. You know what I mean? And they were starting to build this. Don't say it's all of a sudden. Remember, she was going to leave and Daryl found her, and then that's where they went off and chased Beth down. Remember that car? They were building this up for a little bit as far as this emotional shit. However, I just feel like this is a woman who you built a relationship and attachment to these characters. There's something there, and now you're having her just go, you know what, Morgan, just tell them you found me and my body was so badly burnt, you know, beyond recognition. I don't know. Tell me if you guys are getting this little nudge of annoyance with that aspect of Carol. She cannot want to kill, that's all fine. I feel like she doesn't give a fuck about her people right now. And I know that they'll turn that around. I don't see them doing this with her for the rest of the season. I just don't see it. With that said, we have Richard, who went into a shed. It looked like they were storing supplies, but it looked like they might have been storing supplies for a war or for fighting. Maybe I saw the gas cans and everything and my mind was just racing. It looked like they were making Molotov cocktails in there or some shit like that. But let's talk about characters that really won me over this episode. Richard, I loved it, and I'm talking about the actor's performance mainly. There was not a lot of depth story-wise. It didn't need to be. That's not a negative, but I loved it because of the actor's performance. On top of that, Aaron, loved him. More and more, I'm loving Aaron more than comic Aaron. I know, it feels like a terrible thing to say, but I fucking love it. And a lot has to do with the actor's performance. Ross is kicking ass as Aaron, and I am enjoying the shit out of this. He's quickly rising to one of my favorite characters. I think in a month or two, they're releasing an Aaron action figure only at Walgreens. So if you're an Aaron fan, or if you're like me and you're becoming more of an Aaron fan with each episode, check that out. Another character, Michonne. I did not know what the fuck she was doing with her story, and when she said, I'm doing this for me, or whatever in the car, I kind of was like, Michonne, baby, what are you doing, you know? And I just thought about it. I can't remember if she killed that bitch or let her go. Did she let her go? Why am I drawing a blank on this? I mean, the girl said there was a silencer. I can't remember. I really can't remember. You guys tell me what happened. I'll rewatch it. But anyway, Michonne goes back home, and her speech to Rick was one of those speeches where I said, oh man, Rick is usually giving the speeches where I get all rallied up, you know, riled up. And Michonne gave a speech that it hit home when she said, I went there to do it my way, and I realized that I want to do it our way. I was like, fuck yes, Michonne. With that said, the last character, I lied. It was 4 characters that started winning me over again. Not again, but you get what I'm saying. Daryl. Fucking Daryl. Somebody please find the video where I talked about how Daryl, I think it was recent. I think it was after talking about redemption. Now I want to go and look because I talked about how I want Daryl to be brutal and just fucking kill. You know what I mean? We've seen him with certain situations. We've seen him, caring about mankind, caring about his fellow survivors, even if he's not sure exactly where they stand. Yeah, Joey did not do anything except for put a gun on him, but, it was a setup trap anyway. Negan set that shit up. The original escape where Joey comes out with the gun, Negan set that up. Wait a minute, Joey had a gun. Why did he let Daryl kill him? Wait, there was no bullets in it. I think Rick checked and there was no bullets. Anyway, wait, why was there no bullets? Fuck it. Anyway, I talked about how I want this Daryl who will go on the front lines. He ain't fucking around. Kills this guy, Joey, kills any guy, and this is what I was talking about. Not Joey, but just killing, being on the front lines, being vicious and brutal and cold in that aspect. Maybe even to the point where he kind of loses a part of himself, just a tad. We'll get into that. As far as future character development, I'm loving that. I love that. I don't want sulking Daryl. I don't want that. I want beat your head in with a metal pipe Daryl. This is the Daryl I want as of right now. Speaking of the Daryl I want, this is the Daryl that Rick wants. That hug at the end, that bromance, man, listen, it almost got me. I'm a little disappointed. I really, really, really wanted to see the union between Maggie and Daryl. I kind of really felt like Daryl wasn't ready to meet Maggie yet. I really wanted to see some shit like that where Daryl was hesitant. Maybe thinking that Maggie hates his guts after this because he blames himself, and then we get a Maggie who's like, no, just don't be silly, don't be ridiculous, come here, I'm glad you're safe, yada yada yada. I wanted that. We got the Rick stuff with Daryl and Rick, and I thought that was fucking awesome, and the end, Rick's gun, his Colt, has become his iconic weapon, and when Daryl hands it over and they're in this moment where they're uniting at the hilltop, fucking loved it. Then he holsters his gun and they go up to the hilltop. Just that, man, the symbolism and the stuff they do there in that moment, and even throughout this episode here and there. This episode, so much that I enjoyed. I've seen a couple comments like 30 minutes in, and I've seen some people being like, I'm not really feeling this episode, where I think this episode was a perfect example of how blended is best. Listen, 45 minutes into the episode, and I'm looking at my watch going, holy fuck, I thought I just sat down. I thought it was 10 minutes. It's been 40 minutes? Damn! The story feels so rich when they blend it. When you have those episodes where it only follows one character or it takes place in one area, I really feel like they should reserve those for episodes that specifically need it. Episode 1 needed it. That was justified. Episode 2, 3, everything else pretty much this season, no. Blend it together, make them feel rich, give us a little bit of each story, and I think the ratings will be back to where they were. And I truly blame the ratings dip, which is bullshit. And yes, we have that video coming up. I'm so behind. Oh, jeez. The holiday, I got a break going on from other work, so I'm going to be getting more done, catching up. So, oh, fuck. We'll get there. With that said, I'm going to do a prediction video. I enjoyed the shit out of this episode. I love the shaved Negan. I love it. We got a shaved Negan who looks identical from the comic. We seen it in the trailer. He was making a funny face. And he had this kind of like where he was tucking his tongue a little bit, grinning, like a silly kid who just said something really badass and he's laughing at himself. Throughout the episode, we are getting comic accurate Negan. It's not a must. I know some fans are going to hate me because I keep breaking balls about the beard shit, but fuck, I loved it. This fucking Negan is the Negan I've been wanting since episode 1, so I love it. The one scene with Rosita, it's questionable with the bat shooting and Olivia, but other than that, I am really liking this. What would you rate the episode? Put that all down below, and stay tuned for the prediction video for the second half. A little kickstart to the rest of the prediction videos that are going to be coming throughout the break. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.